Hey girl, hey, welcome back to Jess in the Nest. I'm your host, Jessica Johnson, wife, mama, author, and your podcast bestie. I'm so excited to be back. I just celebrated my birthday. I'm not going to reveal my age, but I had a really great time with my family, and I'm so excited to be back doing what I love. And today, I got a really good one for you, okay? Because we're going to talk about something that nobody really tells you about when you're in the building stages. Um, and it doesn't matter if it's like a book, you're building a brand, a business, a platform, or even a life, you know. But everyone, no matter where you go, YouTube, Instagram, doesn't even matter. Everyone is screaming, be consistent, post consistently, write consistently, show up consistently, pray consistently, which is, yes, you must do. Um, Market consistently. And I don't know about you, but I loathe hearing that word. I don't know if it's like oversaturated term. I don't know what it is, but I just, and it's not because I'm not trying to be accountable for whatever it is I'm trying to accomplish. It's just that it just feels like I'm hearing that that's where all my time, energy, mental health, and things like that have to go to. And I do agree that faith without works is dead in anything you do. But God also calls us to rest. But the question is, what if the real issue isn't you being consistent? What if you just need clarity? Because if you don't know if you don't know the what or the direction of what it is you're doing and the why or who you're building it for, consistency just turns into overstimulation and you become unmotivated, and then it just sits there. And I remember there being a season, I believe was it last year? It might have been last year, when it was a time when I was writing, I was working on something, and after publishing it, I thought the only thing standing between me and success was discipline. I was hearing that I should post more, maybe I should write more, show up more. And I was consistent, not all the time, but I was. But I was constantly exhausted. And it's not because I was doing so much, even though I do tend to do a lot, but I was doing more without a clear direction. And I guess what I'm trying to say is I was showing up in effort consistently, but I was inconsistent with my alignment. And that's dangerous because you can build something today and have it ready for tomorrow. But I mean, it builds this, I wish I could explain it better, but it just builds this quick sense of it just creates something that you later on kind of wish you didn't do because it's like you're trying to beat the clock. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Because everybody's telling you to be consistent, to show up. They're trying to make it seem like you got more time behind you than you do in front of you. But that's not necessarily the case. I hope that makes sense. But clarity is identity. And what I mean by that is it's asking, who am I called to serve? What do I actually believe? What conversations do I want to be known for? What am I no longer available for? Clarity is what's going to answer the question of what is it that I would be happy to do the rest of my life, even if I did it for free. Although we're not going to do that, but it's like, what is that thing? Consistency is just the visible side of you showing up for that thing that you're very passionate about, that you love. But it's the behind the scenes work, and not just in what you're building, but within yourself, that comes first. If you skip clarity, you're constantly reinventing yourself every 30, 60 to 90 days because you're not rooted. And as someone who talks about identity and mirrors and reflections, listen to me carefully. If you don't define yourself, the algorithm will. And it will define you based on what performs, not what's purposeful. Because 1 minute you could be like, hey, I'm going to, I don't know, let's say share my knowledge on healthy eating, right? And so you're doing it, you're showing up, and you're getting a few views, which it can feel discouraging, but at the end of the day, views are better than no views, right? You're showing up every day, and then one day you happen to go viral. but it wasn't for a video you did on healthy eating. It was for you showing a cute outfit of the day. So now you're getting tons and tons of followers because like, hey, I like her style. It's not that you can't post about your style, but now you feel like you've shifted from your passion about healthy eating, and now you feel like you have to keep up with the algorithm because it's like, hey, we like her content better about fashion and her style more than her talking about health. And then we get lost. So let me talk to my fellow authors and aspiring authors. You don't need to write every day. You need to take time to know the story that you're trying to tell. You don't need to rush to hit publish. You need to know what you're saying. Because when you have clarity in your message, whether it be nonfiction or fiction, I don't care what genre you have, when you have clarity in your message, it will carry you further than forced productivity ever will. Because when you rush it, you realize you are now an author with 10 published books, but how's your income looking? How's your marketing? Because you're building more and more and more and more and more without a solid foundation because you're trying to keep up with the masses. Clarity changes the weight of your work. It doesn't matter how much you're putting into it day to day. It's you making sure that you're intentional with how much you're putting in. And being still can be uncomfortable because when you take a moment to really meditate on what it is you need to do, there's a lot you have to face. Like the fact that maybe you've pivoted. Like, this ain't really what I wanted to do. How did I get over here when I wanted to be over there? That you've outgrown certain spaces. Maybe at one point you wanted to start a makeup brand and then you decided, hey, I want to do a restaurant. You need a moment to sit there because sometimes you don't want what you used to want and you might disappoint people. That's probably the hardest one of them all. Consistency feels productive. Clarity feels vulnerable, but one of those gets praised for. And I'm sure you can guess which one that is. But the one that doesn't get clapped for, that is where alignment is. Because what I've learned is that it's clarity, alignment, strategy, consistency, then growth. We just want to jump straight to consistency. But consistency without clarity, that's what brings the confusion. That's what brings the overstimulation. That's what brings the unmotivation. Consistency without clarity is going to bring resentment to that thing that you used to be so passionate about. And it creates a brand that don't even feel like you. And then you're waking up and you realize, I'm doing something I don't even love every day. It's like at that point, you may as well just do a 9 to 5 that you can't stand going to every day. That's just survival. That ain't success. And I know we always define success with a dollar sign, but that ain't what that is. Success is intentional. It's not survival. It's not just showing up because you have to. This is what clarity actually looks like. It looks like if you were to take a moment to ask yourself these 3 questions, it's knowing, would you be able to answer them? It's in asking, if nobody was watching, would I still talk about it? And I don't mean like as far as going viral and things, but even aside from that, even if you got 20 views, would you still talk about it? Would you still be passionate about it? Or would that discourage you? If money wasn't your sole focus, what would you build? Like I said before, what would you want to do that you're so passionate about, you would easily do it for free? Although that's not the goal, but that's how you have to think about it. Even if I never got paid for this, would I still love to do it? And if you weren't afraid of being misunderstood, what would you say? Because when you have clarity, you can easily answer those questions. Clarity tells you, this is my lane, this is my voice, this is my message. And I'm okay with not being for everyone. Because once you know who you are, consistency, nothing but a thing. You're not forcing, you're not chasing, you're not trying to copy, meaning like you're not trying to see what's trending. You're showing up as you, which should have been from the start. But even if you're listening right now and you're thinking, okay, Jess, but like I still feel like it's too late for me. No, you're not too late. You're not too late because there's nothing wrong with taking time to define your direction. Because if you don't take that time, you're going to spiral out of control. And before you know it, you're going to probably wish you never even did it. You got to have wisdom. Speed without direction just means you'll have to double back. And doubling back is more exhausting. It's like running a race. You don't start a race exhausted. Yeah, maybe towards the middle, you might feel it. But when you have clarity to understand breathing techniques, how to, motion your arms and have your body in a way that's going to get you to that finish line. So that way, when you do hit the end, or even in the middle of it, that first half might have been exhausted, but you can complete the rest of it in knowing that you could push through that exhaustion. But I don't want to leave you just inspired or confused. I really want to give you some practical steps. So this week, I don't want you to post just to post. And if you're an author, I don't want you to write just to hit a word count. If you can't hit 500 words in an hour, that's okay. But if that is your goal for that day, give yourself some grace and get it done. And I don't want you to just say yes to an opportunity just because it's there. I know, because I've made all of these mistakes. But instead, I want you to ask, does this align with the message I'm building? And if you can't clearly answer that, then you got work to do. You don't need more content. You need more clarity. And once that becomes clear, then you could talk about consistency. You don't need to hustle your way into alignment. You just need to sit long enough to know what it is. So before you commit to being consistent, commit to clarity about your voice, your values, your vision. Because once you have that clarity, consistency is not going to feel like pressure to you. It'll feel purposeful. That's the difference. So if you don't get anything else from this, all I'm saying is build whatever it is with intentionality. So with that being said, I thank you for joining me today. And don't forget to join me every single Tuesday. Follow Jess and Ness on IG, YouTube. I really hope that this blessed and motivated you in some way. And that's all I got for you, friend. So I'm Jess, and this is The Ness, and I'll see you next time.